Welcome. Frontier opening bell this Tuesday, the 13th of December. Again, we're getting closely to the 15th, which takes you to effectively to the first half of the month. But of course, it's a day set aside in which Nigeria will introduce new Naira notes, the 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes. So that date is clear in everybody's. It's a day we're looking forward to having the new set of currency notes in Nigeria, the first in more than 2 decades. So let's keep the heart open. We got to talk especially on that on Thursday, the 15th. But today, the 13th, let's run you through where the market started on Monday, the 12th. The Nigerian stock market, 2 banks, Zenith and FBN Holdings, offsets the 1.8% decline in the shares of Stanbic IBTC Holdings. So finished off 0.04%, giving the banking sector a soft gain, where the rest of the indices finished in the red or flattish on Monday. The BRVM came very strong. The first trading day of the week, 1.54%. That's on the composite. The EGX started Sunday on a negative, finishing line, but then positive Monday, 0.93%, 14,723. And the Nairobi stock market was closed yesterday for the independence anniversary, 59th independence anniversary of Kenya from Great Britain. And that was celebrated yesterday. The markets were closed. What today's market will look like? Let's wait and see. And of course, got the GSE down by 0.17%, in line with the developed and emerging markets around the world, looking soft to start the week on concerns about the China, the whole Omicron. What's the Russian-Ukraine crisis going to look like as we end up the year? And more important, key economic data this week: US CPI, US FOMC decision tomorrow, as well as the European Central Bank rate decision for the final time this year on Thursday, the 15th. Quite a lot to look out for. So the market started the week on a bit bearish sentiment. So let me take that from you straight to the big stories from East Africa as Kenya begin to reopen today after yesterday's independence anniversary. Coffee consumption, according to the International Coffee Organization, is expected to increase by about 1% to 2% through to the year 2030. I'm contributing to that with my cup of coffee. So that's part of the story. Kenya is paying additional 5.4 billion shillings for foreign debt because the US dollar kept coming back strongly. And that is a bit of a worrying issue for William Ruto's administration in Nairobi. Safaricom says his fixed network internet market share in Kenya is expanding about 35% by the end of September, the first 9 months of the year that was, while visa policies, according to a new report by the African Union and the AfDB, shows an improvement in visa policies across the continent despite the COVID-19 pandemic. And the new index shows a few countries leading that. Seychelles Island and a few other countries, and Mauritius, were among those with the best visa policies. In East Africa, Burundi came second, according to that latest report. Let's check in with West Africa. It's going to be a bit of a heavy week for Nigeria. The Debt Management Office yesterday started the final auction of the Naira bond primary market auction for the year, looking to raise between 210 and 240 billion Naira in the reopening of 3 papers. We expect the result of that auction to be in today, tomorrow, just as the central bank will be releasing publicly to the newly designed Naira notes. According to the central bank governor last week when he briefed Mr. President, the Naira notes are already in the coffers of the banks, and on the morning of Thursday, the 15th, you can get the new Naira notes. If I get it early, I'm going to show you here on the show. Ghana is looking to repay $3.5 billion loan next year, more than the $3 billion loan that is looking to achieve or to get in bailout fund from the IMF. News just coming through this morning shows that the authorities of Nana Akufo-Addo in Accra has been able to secure a final deal with the IMF. They cross the T's and dot the I's, and Ghana is now eligible, according to Bloomberg, to receive that $3 billion bailout. That will give Ghana a bit of a breathing space until middle of next year, when it has up to $2 billion to pay in debt. Of course, we're still looking at the working out. How did it really work? The new debt exchange program, which was announced about a week ago by Ken Ofori-Atta, the country's finance minister, all that in the mix. The market in Ghana was quiet for most of last week. Local investors, foreign investors digesting this latest announcement of the debt exchange program. Yesterday, the Ghana stock market got a few notches higher to restart the new week after the initial knee-jerk reaction. Of course, we're looking at a few other stories because the Africa Finance Corporation, which is headquartered in Lagos, leading infrastructure financing on the continent, got to $38 million in equity buy-in from Africa Reinsurance, Mauritius, the island of Mauritius, as well as the government of Cote d'Ivoire. That was celebrated over the weekend into yesterday, the start of the week. Then you got the Southern African story with the rand, slipping early Monday, 1735 on the dollar because of a very busy start week, the economic data week that we're looking at right now. ShopRite has gotten the go-ahead to buy some of the stores of Massmart in South Africa, but the Anti-Competition Commission is attaching a couple of guidelines around that. If you want to put it that way, it's not an easy pick, as it were. There are certain rules that have to be kept by ShopRite to prevent being a monopoly. That's the latest around the ShopRite Massmart deal. And Joburg is looking for an urgent exemption from the rolling outages that Eskom is carrying out in South Africa, the troubled utility giant. And Hippo is listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, says its revenue was up roughly 63% in the first 6 months of this year. Take me straight to North Africa. Let me catch up with some of the big stories between Morocco and Egypt, where Total Energies marketing in Morocco says it's posted a 65% jump in its consolidated turnover for the 9 months ended September, while Egypt says its gas production was up about 6.5 billion cubic feet per day. That's according to the minister. While Egypt and Zambia in Southern Africa signed a memorandum of understanding on communications and IT domains between the two countries, while food industry exports in Egypt said their exports was about $3.4 billion, roughly $3.5 billion in the first 10 months of this year, January to October. And that's the report this morning. That's your Frontier opening bell. You've been briefed. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time.